DAZN is the home of boxing, with over 150 live fights a year.
It's over! There's no way back from this, surely!
Everything is difficult in this life, so still you need to be on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
How do you like it? How do you like it?
That is unbelievable.
These guys will be legends in their own country, but also in the international basketball world forever.
That is what sport means. That is what the EuroLeague trophy means.
Are you not entertained?
I'm not supposed to be cheering, but this is X Series. I can do whatever I want.
This has been a coming together. This has been a light bulb moment.
Two top promoters in the UK have never even met.
I know how to fight, and I'll fight to win.
The competition is back, and the UEFA Women's Champions League looks set to be bigger and better than ever before.
It's their time. A night to remember. It all comes down to tonight. Don't miss the biggest night in MMA. PFL is more than a fight.
Fight Week on DAZN is non-stop action. Access all areas of the biggest fights, even before the bell rings.
I hope you guys enjoy this fight as much as I will.
The following program is recommended for those 16 and over, as it contains sporting violence, possible bad language, and flashing imagery.
Here's the moment the world has been waiting for. The judges are ready, the fighters are ready, the boxing world is ready. The fight starts now! Let's go.
How do you like it? On the show. So aggressive, so focused. It all comes down to this. Media workout live on DAZN. Canelo Alvarez versus William Scull, fight week in full swing here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Last night it was the grand arrivals. Tonight they're going to get in a ring for the open workouts, hit the pads, move around a little bit. Let's see what these guys are made of. We're counting down the days till Saturday night when it all gets underway. Alvarez versus Scull, open workouts starts now.
Live on DAZN Worldwide, Saturday, May 3rd, 7 p.m. Eastern, Canelo versus Scull. The King stakes his legacy once more for the undisputed crown. Standing in his way is Warrior Scull, undefeated and poised to decimate the division. On a knockout weekend of boxing. Get Canelo versus Scull, Saturday, May 3rd. Live exclusively on DAZN. Buy now at DAZN.com.
And we welcome you to the Global Theater in Riyadh, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Fight week well underway. And today the fighters will be sweating it out, at least a little bit, in front of the cameras at the media workout. Hello, everybody. The three amigos are here. Todd Grisham, Sergio Mora, and Chris Mannix getting set for our open workouts. Chris, what are these fighters, how do they approach this usually? They take it serious? They having a laugh? What do you think?
I don't think they're showing too much. It's kind of like an open practice in basketball or football where they're just there, throw a few punches, get a few camera shots, do a few interviews, and then go back and continue the process of getting ready for a fight, the weight cut, everything that goes into a big-time fight.
That's exactly what it is. We're not doing it at all. We're worried about
just fulfilling our obligations, our promotional obligations. We're doing it for the cameras, but we're not really working out in there. We're going like less than half speed. So
did they used to have that for your fights?
This is strictly for the cameras and for you, Todd.
Did they used to have this back in your day, Sergio, the open workouts for the media?
Of course they did. It was only 20 years ago, Todd.
All right, well, speaking of open workouts, they had them over New York City. You know, that major, massive card in Times Square. Teofimo Lopez, there's Arnold Barboza Jr. in there hitting the pads. These guys had a lot of fun in there. Teofimo Lopez doing backflips, jumping rope. Phil Haney screaming at Ryan Garcia and his family. A lot of buzz around that card.
Yeah, a lot of buzz. A couple things I took away from watching this open workout. One, Ryan Garcia is massive. We're going to see him in just a couple of minutes. He is a big 147-pounder. And this guy, Devin Haney, he looks healthy. This is the healthiest I've seen Devin Haney look going into a fight. Usually he is really working to get down to 135, 140 pounds. That's the most normal I've seen Devin Haney look going into a fight. I think it's going to help him when that first bell rings.
I think both Haney and Garcia look great. Garcia doesn't look drawn. You know, he looks like he has his color, he has his speed, he has a pop on his punches. Even if he is going 50%, as you can see when he's hitting the mitts, you could hear the pop. Haney looks great as well because normally his eyes are sunken. So I agree with Mannix. I mean, these guys are ready to go.
Ramirez looks fresh too. I know he basically called this a do or die for his career. I mean, he knows what's on the line. He has got to win this fight.
Yeah, I think Jose Ramirez is not lucky, but fortunate, I think, to get this type of opportunity, given the kind of tough run that he's been on. And given his age and the stage of his career, I do think for Jose Ramirez, it is win or go home. It's his first fight moving up into the welterweight division. Maybe that lack of a weight cut will help him as well, but he's got to find a way to either beat Devin Haney or look great against Devin Haney to keep his career moving.
I'm going to go harder, Chris. I think it's win or retire. I really do. I don't see Ramirez doing anything after this. He didn't look all that good against Ranzis Barthelemy, and he definitely didn't look good against Barboza. He's the type of guy that, he's an Olympian. He's a former unified champion. He needs to act like that. He needs to do something great and special against an undefeated fighter like Devin. Does that, then he's back. If he just competes, not enough.
And we forget how long Jose Ramirez has been around. He was part of the 2012 Olympic team. He has been in the championship mix for the better part of the decade. He's been there for a long time, and I agree with you. I didn't like what I saw from him against Arnold Barboza. He couldn't pull the trigger in ways that he used to. Go back to that fight he had against Maurice Hooker. We called that fight back in, 2019?
Brutal knockout.
Brutal knockout. When he saw Maurice Hooker hurt, he went in there and closed the show. Against Arnold Barboza, he just couldn't pull the trigger. That, to me, is about age. It's about wear and tear. He's got to show that there's still some miles left of that odometer in this fight.
And you can see him in action. Look at that, the Friday and Saturday knockout weekend bundle, right? Right there it is. Knockout weekend bundle. It starts Friday night, Times Square. And then, of course, across the pond here Saturday night, local time, though, it'll be 6 a.m. is about the time Canelo is expected to walk. Here's the way the fight card is shaping up. The first 4 fights loaded with prospects. Although that first fight out of the gate, Chris, a pretty interesting story with Richard Riakporhe, who's moving up to heavyweight.
Yeah, Richard Riakporhe coming off that loss to Chris Billum-Smith in the cruiserweight division. He is trying to squeeze a little bit more out of his professional career. He's going to make his heavyweight debut. He's got the physique for it. He's 6'5", so he was a big cruiserweight, going to try to test himself at heavyweight, see if he can make a run at the title in this division.
And I know, Sergio, you're interested to see what Marco Verde's all about.
No, this is a man making his debut. I mean, there's a big stage here. I mean, he's had a wonderful amateur career, big puncher. This is a man that I'm really curious about. He could be the next Mexican star because he has the right people in his corner, the right trainer, the right money behind him. Marco Verde has a high ceiling, but he has to do something great.
Yeah, Eddie Reynoso will be in the corner of Marco Verde, who makes his pro debut Saturday night. Here's the rest of the card as we move to the final 4 fights, and every one of these should be very, very good. Martin Bakole back in action after that knockout loss here in Saudi Arabia, taking on Efe Ajagba. Jaime Munguia and Bruno Saras, a rematch of last year's upset of the year. Badu Jack and McKaylen squaring off for the WBC World Cruiserweight Championship. And, of course, the main event, Saul Canelo Alvarez and William Scull. Of those 4 fights, Sergio, Well, not the main event. Of the three below the main event, which one do you think will be the best fight
Man,
of the night?
I'm always curious about Badou Jack. I mean, he's been around such a long time. A nice guy. I mean, he's a 3-division world champion. I mean, this guy, he's either in a close fight that he's losing, or a close fight that he's winning, or a close fight that he is drawing. But the man is always in close fights. So this is an opportunity for him to continue staying in the game, even at 41 years old. He's one of these guys that's just he's more than a gatekeeper. He's a former champion. He's at a crossroads, though. He has to look great in order for him to continue getting these big opportunities. I think this is a make-or-break moment for Badou Jack.
He's 41 years old, Chris. Hasn't fought in over 2 years. What do you expect from him?
Yeah, well, he's going up against an opponent in Noel Magalian, who is also coming off a long layoff, who took this fight on short notice. So I think Badou Jack is well positioned to get a win, but every time you get a fighter that's into his 40s, you start to wonder exactly what's left in the tank. And we'll say this about Badou Jack: loves fighting here in Saudi Arabia. Last 2 fights came in Saudi, the most successful fight, arguably, of his career, winning that world title against Junior Makabu. So he's shown, at least in recent fights, that there still is something left.
Well, it is Cinco de Mayo weekend, and another Mexican who's a fan-friendly fighter, Jaime Munguia, is back. Sergio, rematch with Bruno Saras. Conventional wisdom says, hey, Munguia is going to take him serious. He's going to blast this guy out of here. At least that's what Chris seems to think. You, however, disagree.
Yeah, I disagree with Mannix, as always, because look, this is a man who's unbeaten. He carries himself like an unbeaten fighter. He landed a right hand from hell, but you can bet that wasn't lucky. He didn't find that lightning in a bottle like nothing, because Munguia gets hit with right hands like that. So, look, man, this is an opportunity for Bruno to prove that the first time wasn't a fluke. And he's in there with a guy with leaky defense in Munguia, and a guy that can't really pull the trigger like he used to. Maybe he's one of these guys that's shop worn. I mean, he's been fighting for a long time. We'll see if Bruno could do it again.
Yeah, I don't think Bruno Saras went to bed on Thanksgiving Eve last year thinking he'd be in the top 10 in the super middleweight rankings, but there he is in the ring rankings, number 7, and deservedly so. Biggest win of his career, 26 professional wins. He has been effectively a club fighter up until this point, and we're going to learn, I think, in this rematch if he's more than that, if he has been something of a hidden gem on the French boxing scene. The reason I'm so bullish, though, about Jaime Munguia is I don't think he took that fight seriously at all. Jaime Munguia was just months removed from his comeback win over Eric Bazinian. That was a huge win for Jaime Munguia. To beat a guy like Bazinian coming off the Canelo loss, I think he went down to Tijuana expecting a guy from France that nobody had ever heard of, that had 4 knockouts on his resume coming into that fight, to just roll over. He didn't. I think this camp has probably been a lot more serious. He's working with Eddie Reynoso for this fight. I think you're going to see the very best of Jaime Munguia, and I still believe the very best of Jaime Munguia is going to be better than Bruno Saras.
Well, we'll hear from both Bruno Saras and Jaime Munguia a little later on. Let's get the party started, and for that, we turn it over to Thomas Treiber, who's in the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the media workout for Fatal Fury World Championship Boxing this Saturday, May 3rd, from A&B Arena in Riyadh, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We would first like to thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the custodian of the 2 holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and His Excellency, Chairman of the General Entertainment Authority, GIA, Turkey Al Sheikh. This event is being brought to you by Riyadh Season and the General Entertainment Authority, GIA, with Frank Warren for Queensberry, Canelo Promotions, Aegon Sports and Events, and Sella, along with their great sponsors: Riyadh Season, STA, STC, Dr. Suleiman El Habib Medical Group, and Arena Fitness Innovation. A big thanks to those great sponsors. It will be broadcast live worldwide on DAZN, and final tickets are available through WeBook.com. Let's now get the media workout started. Our first fighter competing Saturday in a scheduled 8-round heavyweight contest. Coming to us from London, England, he brings a professional record of 17 wins, just 1 defeat, 13 of his 17 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is Richard Riakporhe.
Richard Riakporhe, the former cruiserweight, now moving up to heavyweight. He had a hellacious battle in his last fight about a year ago against Chris Billum-Smith. Mannix, why did he make the jump?
I think at 35 years old, he probably realized that an opportunity at cruiserweight probably wasn't coming to him. Now he gets a chance to move up in weight, not to cut weight anymore. I'm sure being 6'5", getting down to that 200-pound division had to have been a struggle for him at this age. Only has that one loss on his resume, so he still has the potential to become a contender. He has a win earlier in his career over Chris Billum-Smith, a split decision, beat Krzysztof Włocki earlier in his career. So this is a guy that does have talent. We'll see if at this stage and at this weight he can put it together and become a contender.
Well, Sergio, we've seen other cruiserweights move up and have a lot of success. Of course, Evander Holyfield, Alexander Usyk, the current reigning heavyweight champion of the world. But this guy's long in the tooth. He lost his last fight in cruiserweight. How successful do you think he'll be with the big boys?
Well, he's long in the tooth, but he has long arms. He has that long frame. I think he can fill out nicely. And with one loss to an undefeated fighter in CBS, there's no shame in that. Yes, he is 35 years old, but Riakporhe has a big right hand. I think with a good camp, he has a lot of confidence, the right opponent in front of him, he can get another big win and another big fight.
Yeah, I agree with you on that right hand, Sergio. He does have great power with that right, straight rights and with the hook. He does have the potential, I think, in being a British fighter where a lot of the top heavyweights are clustering right now. He should get an opportunity if he looks good in his next fight or two.
And you saw on the screen, we showed his recent record before, Chris Billum-Smith. He rattled off 3 straight knockout wins. That's what he goes for. He tried to bully Billum-Smith, but no one can seem to do it to that guy. We saw him last week winning on the undercard of the Eubank-Conor Benn fight. But Riakporhe making his heavyweight debut in a fight that he's expected to look very good in.
Riakporhe shadowboxing from that left-handed stance. Pretty interesting.
Sergio, what's the key? Obviously, weight's the issue when you move up to heavyweight. But where are some areas that cruiserweights, or blown-up cruiserweights, so to speak, can have success in the heavyweight division, since he's obviously not going to be much bigger than most of his opponents?
That's a great question, and it all depends on the style. But I would say upper body movement, because you're not going to be big enough to hurt these big men with one shot. You definitely want to get hit by a big man with that big power coming from heavyweight. So upper body movement, some footwork, and learn how to be a little bit more fluid, not so stiff, relying on power.
Richard's going to make his way up here, and we're going to speak with him just a second. For now, though, we go back down to Thomas Tribe.
Our next fighter competing Saturday in a scheduled 6-round super featherweight contest. He hails from right here, Riyadh, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and he is undefeated with 3 victories. Let's welcome mighty Mohammed Al-Akil.
They call him Mighty Mo, and Turki Al-Sheikh has huge plans for this fighter. They are desperate to get somebody from this country to get to an elite level.
Well, they are, but look, man, Saudi Arabian fighters have started very late, but they have the resources to learn really fast on the job, and you can see how these guys develop really fast. Every fight that continues, and this man's one of them.
As we look at Mohammed Al-Akil, we bring it back up here to our stage, and joining us now is the newly turned heavyweight, right? We can officially call you a heavyweight.
Officially say that, yes.
Making the jump right now. How does it feel now to be the bigger guy, not have to cut weight? You can eat pretty much whatever you want, right?
It feels good. I'm just, you know what? Your mood changes. You know when you're cutting weight, around this part of like, on the lead up to the fight, you're just grumpy, you're moody, and you just can't wait for the weigh-in. but it's changed. It's so different. It feels so weird. It feels like I'm cheating, honestly. Yeah.
Richard, walk us through the decision to move up to heavyweight. You took that loss against Chris Smith, only the first loss of your professional career. What were you thinking after that fight about your future?
So I kind of just assessed myself and everything that went wrong, and I felt like one of the reasons why I feel like it affected me a little bit is my weight. Bottling down to 14.4 is crazy. Where, you know, after the fight, I put on probably about 10 kgs within a week. You know, so I thought, you know, I think now is the best time to kind of push on and move on. With CBS, you know, it was a great fight. I beat him once, he beat me once, and I thought, you know what, maybe we could do it again in the future if he decides to come as well. But I need to be a bit more healthy and see what I can do, see the damage I can do at heavyweight. I think I can do a lot of damage.
It doesn't hurt that a lot of the top heavyweights in boxing right now are UK-based. They're clustering over in the UK. Was that part of the thinking, like, hey, an opportunity could come to me sooner rather than later?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's one of my goals that I've had for a very long time. My stablemate is Bakoli. So you can just imagine the work that I get. You know, nobody gets that type of work in the country, honestly, and it's a blessing, you know. I help him, he helps me. We got Billy Nelson as well in the corner. You can't ask for more, let's just put it that way.
Now, how much do you plan on getting bigger? Do you feel like bulking up now that you're moving up to heavyweight? Do you want to stay lean? Do you want to stay fast and quick on your feet, or do you want to get more mass?
I kind of like assessed all of the old school heavyweights, Ken Norton, Merciless, Ray Mercer, all of these fighters, Muhammad Ali, and they were quite lean. They were always around the like 211, 215 pounds. And I know we're bigger now, but I feel like some people overdo it. Some of the heavyweights overdo it. They lose their speed, and they're turning into bodybuilders, you know. Right. I feel like if you can get like a decent frame, if you got a decent frame, you know, naturally, and you put on like boxing muscle, you know what I mean? Not, you know, weightlifting muscle. I think you could do really well if you can maintain the speed, the agility. We can really take it back to that old school era of boxing, and that's what I'm trying to do.
That's a great point, Richard, because I think of Mike Tyson. When Mike Tyson was at his best, he was like 210, 215. Once he started getting a little bulkier and a little bit more muscle, you know, that's when he lost his speed and he started showing a little bit of flaws. So yeah, the lighter the better sometimes.
That's it. So that's one of the things. That's why I feel like I'm going to do very well at heavyweight, and I can bang. I got the power as well. So, you know, you lot are in for a treat, believe me.
Well, hey, I know you got to run. We got to keep moving, but I hope you're okay from sparring with Bakoli. He didn't crush you too bad. That straight right hand looks nasty.
Hey, look at my face.
It looks beautiful.
Look.
Have you seen his right hand?
His arms look huge and massive. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
In the heavyweight division.
Appreciate it.
All right, back down to Thomas.
Our next two fighters competing Saturday in a scheduled 6-round middleweight contest. Let's first welcome, coming to us from Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico. He brings a professional record consisting of 4 wins, 5 defeats, 3 draws. 2 of his 4 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is Michel El Águila Galvan Polina.
Sergio, with this music, I feel like you should be talking right now.
You know what the name of the song called, right?
La Cucaracha.
La Cucaracha. And the man coming out is La Águila, which is the eagle in Spanish. Only been stopped one time, but these are the type of fighters that you want to test your Olympians, your guys that with a high ceiling in the amateurs. So this man, Polina, right here, he's one of these guys that can actually give you rounds, show you what you got, see if you got a blue-collar prospect or a future champion in your hands.
Yeah, there's that old football line where it was Bill Parcells that said, you are what your record says you are. I don't think that's always applicable in boxing. In boxing, you can be a lot better than what your record says you are.
And a lot worse. And a lot worse.
And a lot worse, though. But, you know, all of the upsets that we often see with some of these prospects comes against guys with these mediocre records who have faced mediocre competition. Hell, we look at what Jaime Munguia faced back in December. Not that Bruno Saras had a mediocre record, but he had a very bad resume. Only a couple of times he had fought above 10 rounds, or 10 rounds or above. So you've always got to be careful. Marcus Verde, the guy he's going to face, a very, very talented young prospect, but when you're this young, making your pro debut, you've got to be wary of the guy they're put in front of you.
No, I agree with Mannix here, because this man has faced undefeated fighters before, and he got draws with 2 of them. Doesn't beat them, but he gives them everything they can handle. So that's what I'm telling you. You want to test an Olympian, you want to test them when you got tough Mexicans like these. We'll give you rounds and definitely test your record.
And I love you to tell your story about your pro debut. It didn't go as planned either, did it?
No, it did not. I got dropped, I got cut, and I barely squeaked out a 4-round split decision. So everything can go wrong. I was a fresh prospect as well. Coming off the Olympic trials, I fought a guy that was 1-1-1, and he almost upset the apple cart.
For the record, I scored that fight for the other guy.
Of course you did.
I love the fact that Michael Polina is hitting the pads like the fights tonight. I mean, he is amped to be here, and he's got a big opportunity. Everybody's going to be looking at Marco Verde in his pro debut, but Michael Polina, you get a win here, you have a good showing, you come back to Saudi Arabia, and I don't know what he's getting paid, Chris, but I guarantee you it's multiple times more than he's ever made in his life.
Yeah, and I think a win would certainly add on to that. I will say this, as I watch him hit the pads, not great speed there, Sergio. It sort of looks like some of the guys I trained with over at Old Rumble Boxing.
There you go with Rumble Boxing again. No, look, man, like I said earlier, they're going 50%. They're going at half speed. They're really just doing it just for the fans here, for the media, and you could tell that he's not going 100% here.
All right, we'll reconvene on this on Saturday.
Hey, who wrote the song La Cucaracha? Who sang it first, do you know?
I have no clue.
You have no culture in your body, do you?
No, but I know the lyrics.
Everybody knows the lyrics. Michael Polina soaking up all 3 minutes of this 1-round open workout for the media. He's from Monterrey, Mexico, and has not fought since March of 2022, Sergio. 3 years since this man's been in the ring.
And that right there is why they pick a man like this, because yes, he hasn't really been knocked out. He's been in there with undefeated fighters. So it'll be a good look on your resume. But if you're inactive and you're not the fastest fighter and you've always come up short when you're the B side, this is when matchmakers make their money.
Michael Polina and Marco Verde squaring off Saturday night.
Michel El Águila Galvan Polina. And now let's welcome, from Mazatlan, Sinaloa, Mexico. He had a stellar amateur career, becoming a 2024 Olympic silver medalist. And now this Saturday, he makes his highly anticipated professional boxing debut. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Marco Verde.
Todd, the 2 words that Sergio Mora loves to hear when a fighter is introduced, Sinaloa.
That's not 2 words, it's 1, but
well,
yes,
whatever.
You're
Is
learning.
It not 2 words?
You are learning, Chris Mannix. Yes, anytime you hear Sinaloa, I don't care if it's Los Mochis or Culiacan, you got greatness coming out of there. Julio Cesar Chavez, of course. You got Jorge Arce, you got Carlos Cuadras, you got Giovanni Santillana. I mean, you got so many talented fighters that come from that area of Mexico. So anytime, like I tell Chris Mannix, you hear a fighter coming from Sinaloa, hold on.
What is it about that area? Why are they so tough from Sinaloa?
Well, my mom is from Sinaloa, right? A lot of seafood. There's a lot of seafood. We're near the water. I don't know what it is, but yeah, you know, there's something.
Is that where Zepeda's from, the shrimp?
No, he is not.
Right? You said well, I was thinking maybe because of the water.
Now, Verde is a big man, a big puncher, a southpaw, as you can see here, and he had a long amateur career, but a lot is expected out of this man right here. And yeah, man, whenever you're from certain parts of Mexico with a big boxing fan base, you're only going to grow faster and get to the top a lot quicker.
Hey, most guys make their pro debut in a tiny little gym somewhere, no fanfare, just trying to get a win under your belt. This guy's under the bright lights on a Canelo Alvarez card in Saudi Arabia. This is almost a dream come true in his first fight. Lost in the finals of the Olympics 71 kg final. We tried to figure out the difference between kilograms and pounds today, right? I weighed 90 kilos, which is 198 pounds, I think. And you weighed how many kilos today?
I don't know, but I weighed 192 pounds. I forgot the kilos. I don't know.
When I met you, you weighed 174. You're trying to get up to 199. Why are you trying to get so big?
You should ask Mannix that question, because he's getting bigger and bigger every year.
Why'd you drag him into this?
How am I catching strays on that one?
Oh. By the way, this guy has 2 amateur wins against Omari Jones, who just turned pro, the fighter out of Orlando that Eddie Hearn is in love with.
Yeah, it's impressive. I mean, he's got a lot of impressive wins in his amateur background. A lot of people very excited about Marcos Verde and his potential. Hard-hitting, highly skilled, as Sergio mentioned, a southpaw, and has got good backing with Team Canelo here.
Marco Verde!
Hola, hola. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, contento de estar aquí, emocionado ya. Ya el día se acerca, así que no puedo estar más contento de eso.
I'm very excited. The day is almost here. I'm in the last stretch, so I'm very excited to be here. With that being said, our good friends up in the studio were saying how important it is to come from Sinaloa, a hotbed for excellent talent. And of course, you come from that area. What does this mean to you to be able to be here representing that area under these very bright lights? Los chicos allá arriba estaban hablando de la importancia de venir de un área como Sinaloa, donde obviamente hay un talento extraordinario, históricos obviamente. ¿Qué significa para ti estar aquí bajo estas luces tan brillantes representando esa área?
Sí, claro, por supuesto, siempre representando Sinaloa, tanto Mazatlán, Sinaloa como México, así como lo hice en los Juegos Olímpicos, también lo voy a representar aquí en el profesional.
As always, I am very excited, and I'm repping Mazatlán, Sinaloa, any part of Sinaloa, just like I did Mexico in the Olympics, and I'm going to leave that flag just as high as I did then. And with that being said, you're just a few days away from the fight. Any changes in your schedule, in your timing? We saw your footwork is beautiful, but any changes? O sea, ya estás en la recta final, estás solo a días, obviamente un cambio de horario. ¿Qué ajustes estás haciendo?
Sí, nos adaptamos. Creo que en el amateur me tocó viajar mucho, me tocó pelear con diferentes cambios de horarios, así que pues, es normal, el cambio se afecta, pero aún así te adaptas, siempre hay que adaptarse a todo.
Well, he says that we're adapting. When I was in the amateurs, I had to adapt on a regular basis, so now I'm just doing what I have to do to make sure that I do a good job on Saturday. Well, muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon.
Sinaloa, Mexico's own Marco Verde. So Sergio, seafood and fighters come from Sinaloa.
Great music and plus other stuff, absolutely.
What's the other stuff?
I don't want to talk about it.
It gets rough around the edges there. As we go back into the ring to the man who used to lather himself in baby oil and wrestle professionally, Thomas Treiber.
Our next 2 fighters competing Saturday in a scheduled 6-round light heavyweight contest. Let's first welcome from Culiacán, Sinaloa, Mexico. He brings a professional record consisting of 11 wins, 3 defeats, 1 draw, 7 of his 11 wins coming by way of knockout. Let's welcome Adron Rocha Guerrero.
Sergio, what can you tell us about Sinaloa, Mexico?
I can tell you about Culiacán, Mexico. That's where Chavez is from. That's where my mother was born. Yeah, Culiacán, awesome place. I'm telling you, there's probably a gym in every corner there. Everyone knows how to fight there.
And by the way, I wasn't joking about Thomas Treiber. He actually wrestled Stone Cold Steve Austin. He didn't win. He had a mud hole stomped in him. But give that man credit.
Didn't you get kicked in the face by a wrestler?
Shawn Michaels.
There you go.
The Heartbreak Kid. But we're not talking wrestling, we're talking boxing. And we're looking at Adron Guerrero, who took some rounds off of Michael Olivas, who's 12-0 at the time, a decent fighter. And he does have 5 wins inside of 3 rounds. So he gets busy, likes to get his work out of the way. What do you expect him to do against Rayon Leon, Chris?
I expect this fight to be a banger. Leon has got good power as well. This young man has shown good power against limited opposition up to this point in his career. I expect both these guys to go toe-to-toe. You've got a Cuba versus Mexico rivalry. Not exactly Mexico versus Puerto Rico, Sergio, but still a rivalry that gets the blood flowing amongst the fighters.
No, absolutely. Probably a better rivalry as far as stylistically, because you got the Cuban slick boxers with a lot. They got power, but they use their boxing ability. And when it comes to the Mexican fighters, you know, they usually don't have the fastest hands or the most power. They just really get in, you know, they come with conditioning, with toughness, and being able to take a big punch. This man right here, Guerrero, 15 fights, never been stopped, has given guys that are undefeated everything they can handle. Solid matchup here.
He's lost 2 of his last 3, but his opponents were both undefeated, 12-0 and 9-0 records respectively. And now he's facing a guy in Rayon Leon who's 6-0 with 6 knockouts. But again, just to be part of this card with Canelo Alvarez is something that any young Mexican fighter, any fighter in the world for that matter, only dreams of. Have you ever been to Cuba, by the way?
I have.
You have? What do you think of Cuba?
It's a place that's stuck in time. You know, you go back there, you see the old school cars, the beautiful people. Everyone speaks like 4, 5, 6 languages. Amazing people.
Mexico versus Cuba in this fight, and of course in our main event, William Scull versus Canelo Alvarez will be Mexico versus Cuba. That rivalry, Sergio, isn't what it could have been. Obviously, Cuban fighters aren't allowed to fight professionally unless they're escape the island, so to speak, or defect somewhere else. So who knows how many legendary matchups we could have had over the year. But Chris, looking back at all the great Cuban fighters, who would you say is your favorite?
Favorite Cuban fighter?
I'm putting you on the spot here.
A little bit on the spot there. There were some very good Cuban fighters. I'm trying to go back in time. I mean, look, we watched Andy Cruz fight very recently. I think he has a chance to be a special fighter in 135, 140-pound division. Yuri Gamboa, as I continue to go back in time. Luis Ortiz, another good fighter. There have been a lot of, but to your point, there have been a number of elite amateur fighters coming out of Cuba that never turned professional or had very short professional careers. A lot of guys that could have been big household names had they been able to turn professionally earlier in their careers.
I'll give you the best Cuban fighter that Mexicans appreciate because he was Cuban and Mexican, the great Jose Mantequilla Napoles. That's the man you want to think of anytime you're thinking about Mexican fighters with Cuban ability.
What do you mean by Cuban ability?
Well, they're natural southpaws. They convert them to southpaws. They're strong. They're usually really muscular. They have great foot movement, agility. They have the amateur pedigree. Mexicans bring the toughness, the technique, the body shot. So it's a good clash of both styles, and you can bring them together in a hybrid. They're dangerous.
I'll tell you what, Guerrero's getting the most out of this open workout. He's already in there longer than I think anybody up until this point.
Sergio, do you think this open workout will last longer, or his fight against his undefeated opponent?
I think he's gonna give a good fight. You know, Guerrero, like I said, he's been in there with some undefeated fighters before. That doesn't really do anything to him, and he's a tough fighter, and you can tell that he's in shape. Normally, guys that aren't in shape, they want to get in and get out of these open workouts. Now he wants to get some work in, get a sweat going, and of course soak up the moment.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Sergio. A lot of times when you see fighters that are going through difficult weight cuts, when they get to this portion of fight week, they are very quick. They're standing there in the ring, throwing a few shadow boxing punches, not getting on the mitts like we're seeing right now with Guerrero.
Thank you very much to Adron Rocha Guerrero. And now let's welcome, coming to us from Pinar del Rio, Cuba. He had a stellar amateur career, and now as a professional is undefeated with 6 wins. All 6 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is Brian the King Leon.
You're looking at the guy that was Canelo's chief sparring partner for the Edgar Berlanga fight. If that doesn't tell you how legit he is, I don't know what does.
Big puncher, big man at 6 feet. So yeah, it was a perfect sparring partner. I want to see if that power is real, though. I want to see if he can do it and knock out fighters that aren't accustomed to getting knocked out. If he can do that, he could turn a lot of heads. But yeah, that says a lot, you know, being the chief sparring partner of Canelo, and this man has a high ceiling.
You know, I used to think with Cuban fighters that everyone that came out of that Cuban school was more boxer than puncher, was not going to be entertaining necessarily. We've seen some top Cubans. Arislandi Lara is one. Guillermo Rigondeaux is another. Top fighters, but didn't necessarily bring the entertainment value. I've found in recent years, a lot more of these Cuban fighters have brought entertainment as well as skill. Yuri Gamboa, certainly an entertaining fighter. Luis Ortiz, an entertaining fighter. Andy Cruz, one of the most decorated amateurs of all time. He has come to the pro ranks, gone to that Philadelphia gym of Bozy Ennis, and turned himself into an entertaining, hard-hitting puncher. This guy, Leon, I think he has got a chance to be not only a very good fighter, maybe even a great fighter, but to be someone that's also entertaining.
You know, there's a saying in Mexico, dime con quién andas y te digo quién eres. You know, tell me who you hang out with and I'll tell you what type of person you are. This man is training with tough Mexicans, training with Eddie Reynoso, being around Canelo Alvarez. So he comes from that Cuban school. He has the power, he has the size, he has the backing, but he's picking up something else in Mexico, and he's picking up a lot of stuff from Mexican fighters.
Well, I hang around you. What does that say kind of person I am?
This is why you're in the position you are, Todd.
Riding your coattails, huh? Well, Eddie Reynoso can't speak highly enough about this guy. And Chris, he says the thing that impresses him the most is his ring IQ is off the charts.
Yeah, ring IQ, ring generalship, and power. Those are the three things that have stood out to me watching the early footage of Leon. I do think he has a chance to move very quickly, and I love that he was, as Sergio pointed out, the chief sparring partner for Edgar Berlanga. That shows a lot of confidence that Canelo Alvarez has in this young fighter.
Thank you very much, Brian the King Leon.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, a quick break to update you on a massive sporting event heading to DAZN this summer.
Greatness comes to DAZN this summer. The world's best players will be summoned together to decide the greatest club on earth.
Vinicius, great chance to score.
Goats will battle Wonder Kids. Fire will meet ice. From Boca to Bayern, PSG to Palmeiras, 32 clubs from across the globe will compete to be crowned
Rodrigo, what a strike that was!
world champion. And this summer, Haaland won't be watching from home, but you can, on DAZN. In every country in the world. FIFA Club World Cup. Watch on DAZN from the 14th of June.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, DAZN, the official global broadcaster for the 2025 FIFA World Club Cup. 32 of the world's top football clubs. Watch all 63 live matches on DAZN starting June 14th. From the pitch back to the canvas, we go downstairs to Double T, Thomas Truck.
Our next two fighters competing Saturday in a scheduled 10-round heavyweight contest. Let's first welcome from Ughelli, Nigeria. He has a professional record of 20 wins, 1 defeat, 14 of his 20 wins coming by way of knockout. Let's welcome Efe, the silent roller, Ajagba.
Efe Ajagba, 5 straight wins since he was beaten by Cuban Frank Sanchez, another Cuban fighter we haven't mentioned. What do you expect from him Saturday night, Chris?
Expect him to go for a knockout. That's what I expect. He is a power puncher, and for a long time, Efe Ajagba looked like the next great intimidating heavyweight in this division. All the way up to 2018, he looked like someone that was going to be reckoned with. He had that incident with Curtis Harper, where Harper walked out of the ring rather than face Efe Ajagba. Said it was about money, but a lot of people in boxing believe maybe a little bit differently. But he stumbled on some hard times as of late. He was knocked down in a fight in 2019. He had that loss to Frank Sanchez in his last fight against Guido Vianello. He won a split decision. That was not the most impressive of performances, I thought, by Efe Ajagba. So the shine has come off him since his early rise at heavyweight. But Sergio, he's got a guy in front of him, Martin Bakole, that's not going to be hard to find. So as much as this is a good fight for Martin Bakole, it's equally good for Efe Ajagba.
Yeah, but there's another fighter that shine came off him with his last loss in Bakole. So these are two guys that need to make a big statement, and they're big men looking for the knockout. This fight doesn't go the distance, man. This is going to be the equivalent of a heavyweight version of Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero that we're going to see on Friday. It will not go 3 rounds.
Let me tell you something. This is the first time really getting up close and personal with Efe Ajagba. He looks huge in there, 6'6" tall. Man, this guy, he's a monster.
This is what people saw early in his career. He looked like one of those guys that was going to be avoided for a long time until he could force that mandatory opportunity. I saw him fight, I think it was 2019. It was on the undercard of Jermell Charlo against Tony Harrison, the rematch in Ontario, California. And he won that fight, but he got knocked down by a journeyman in that fight. That was the first time I think that you saw a little bit of a chink in the armor with Efe Ajagba. He's a big puncher, but does he take a punch as well as top heavyweights need to? He's gonna have to show that he can take a punch in this fight with Martin Bakole this weekend.
Well, he used to be a big football player, soccer player, but when he was 17 years old, he knocked a bully out with a straight right hand. He was addicted to fighting, went to a local gym, and the rest is history. I don't know who would want to try and bully this guy.
Thank you very much to Efe, the silent roller, Ajagba.
Now let's go into the ring as Efe Ajagba makes his way over to Claudia Trejos.
Exactly. Hello.
Hello.
I gave you 2 days to practice your Spanish. How's your Spanish?
Hola, Gloria.
Viste, we're making progress. And listen, very nice footwork right here. Yeah. But I saw you a couple days ago. You were doing some waist movements. What's up with that? Show me a little bit of that. Yeah, don't fake it like you forgot already?
No, I mean, talking about the dance. I mean, if it's the dance, I'm okay with it. You know, it doesn't matter to me.
You did great. We saw it. We all saw it. It actually went viral. But, you know, there's this dispute now. Who is the real king of Africa?
It's me.
No doubt.
No doubt.
So how would you yell that to the public that's right here watching you work out?
I mean, we see how it goes. I mean, you know, I'm just looking forward to the fight. You know what I mean? So I'm here for the fight. You know, I'm going to conquer it all.
So you came, saw, and you will conquer.
Yes, that's what I'm here for.
We look forward to that. Thank you very much.
I appreciate that.
So Efe Ajagba, who's been down twice as a pro, you know his chin is certainly going to get tested again on Saturdays. Back down to Thomas.
And now let's welcome, from Kananga, Democratic Republic of Congo, he brings a professional record of 21 wins, 2 defeats, 16 of his 21 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is Martin Bakole.
Now this is the guy that likes to dance. Martin Bakole, always in a good mood despite his massive frame. He's just looks like a lovable teddy bear. That is until he punches you in the face.
Lovable grizzly bear, maybe, but yeah, this is a big man, a dangerous man. Once he's on the front foot, you know, throwing combinations to the body. That's what I love about Bakole. A lot of heavyweights avoid body shots. You know, they just go straight hunting, head hunting. This man digs you to the body, picks you up with uppercuts and a big right hand.
Yeah, and he has been on a roll up until that last loss to Joseph Parker. Knocked off Jared Anderson in the fight card in Los Angeles last summer, and has become something of a boogeyman in the heavyweight division. Now, the shine has come off him a little bit in the aftermath of that loss to Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker needed less than 2 rounds to finish Martin Bakole. And now, look, while I understand he took that fight on less than 48 hours of notice, that he arrived the morning of the fight, after midnight, the morning of the fight, the knockout still happened. And Sergio, he's only had about 2 months to bounce back from that, to recover, to get back into camp. Do you have any concerns about Martin Bakole's fitness coming into this fight?
Fitness, no, but I do question his chin because he was stopped with another guy, Michael Hunter, U.S. Olympian in 2018. And that's what I have to start questioning. Yes, this man can punch really strong. He can give a big punch, but can he take a big punch? If you're not going to have the chin to be able to absorb that, then you can't make it in the heavyweight division. This man needs to prove a lot coming off that last knockout loss to Parker. We're going to see if he can do it on this weekend.
Well, the loss to Michael Hunter, I think, had more to do with conditioning. As you look at some of these recent fights from Martin Bakole, Filip Hrgović, Zheli Zhang, top heavyweights in the rankings there. Martin Bakole is sitting there in the ring rankings at number 8, which I think is fair. He belongs inside that top 10. The loss, though, to Michael Hunter was more about conditioning to me than it was a lack of a chin. Michael Hunter got him at the very end of that fight. Michael Hunter, a former U.S. Olympian, well-conditioned, well-prepared. He wore down Martin Bakole. This recent loss was more about one shot, discombobulating him and messing him up on the head. You saw Billy Nelson, Sergio, on the ring apron. Billy Nelson was up on that ring apron to stop the fight between Martin Bakole and Joseph Parker before Martin Bakole's body hit the canvas. Billy Nelson was not going to allow Martin Bakole to take a sustained beating in that fight, knowing that he had something like this waiting in the wings a couple of months later.
Yeah, so both knockout losses by Bakole were when he wasn't in the best condition, so we're still questioning, is it the conditioning or the fact that he lacks the chin? If he can take a punch, he's going to be a scary man to fight.
Well, he did get hit on top of the head, and it's that can discombobulate you. You saw him kind of wobble before he went down. It was an awkward-looking knockdown. Billy Hunter jumped up there quickly, as Chris Minnick said, to stop it. I'm going to ask him when he gets up here. We're going to speak to Martin in a few minutes. If he wishes that Billy hadn't done that, did he want to continue, or looking back, is like, hey, it was a smart thing to do?
Thank you very much to Martin Bakole.
He'll be joining us here in just a couple of minutes. The big man who weighed well over 300 pounds in that fight. We'll see how he tips the scales on Friday.
Yeah, that was a tough loss he took to Joseph Parker. Predictable one, given how short notice the fight was. But we talk about momentum, the shine, so to speak. He can get that momentum and get that shine back with just one fight. He is in a fight that is a dangerous fight, no doubt about it. Efe Ajagba can punch and is fully capable of knocking Martin Bakole out. But Efe Ajagba is not going to be someone that's hard to find.
Our next 2 fighters competing in a rematch this Saturday, scheduled for 10 rounds in the super middleweight division. Let's first welcome, coming to us from Marseille, France. He brings an undefeated record with 26 wins, 2 draws, 5 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is Brunello Suras.
Here comes Bruno Suras, nicknamed Brunello. He'll be fighting on Canelo's card. A career highlight for him, no doubt about it, but it's not going to top what he did last year when he pulled off the upset of the year and some people's knockout of the year by stopping Jaime Munguia. They'll rematch this Saturday night. More on that matchup in just a minute, but look who's joined us here on the stage. It's Martin Bakole, and you got a smile on your face. So I was wondering why you weren't so happy in the ring a minute ago.
Oh yeah, we're ready to go. It's a weak fight, so we have a fight mentality, so we're ready to go.
They build this as an all-Africa fight. Who's the king of Africa? Do you see it that way, Congo versus Nigeria?
Of course, everyone knows who's the king. I'm the king of Africa. He's just coming, you will notice that in the ring on a Sunday morning.
Martin, it was just about 2 months ago that you took that loss against Joseph Parker. What was it like after that fight? I mean, did you get right back into a full training camp knowing that this fight was possible? Did you take some time off? And how physically ready do you feel after the quick turnaround?
The Parker fight, it was not a mistake for me. It was a big favor done to the boxing family. So my fight was a Jagba fight. After that loss, I went back straight to the gym, started doing everything I always do for the fight, and I'm ready now to go for Sunday morning.
That was a cause for concern, the quick return. Did you actually take any time off or straight back to the gym after that knockout?
No, I didn't take any time off. I was only one off in my plane, going back home to Kinshasa, and following day go back to Scotland where I live and go straight away to the gym.
Martin, I was trying to explain to Chris Mannix that sometimes fighters have bad days in the gym. Sometimes they get dropped, sometimes they get badly hurt. This could just be a bad day in the office with you in the last fight with Joseph Parker. So have you had a bad day in the gym and come back and beat your sparring partner the next day?
No, I never had something like that in the gym. So like in the gym, I always take everything serious and prepare very well. Take time to know nothing to happen to me, especially when I prepare for the fight. So everything is working like we planned with my coach. Everything is okay.
You got up pretty quickly after that knockdown. Did you want to continue? Were you able to continue? Basically, how hurt were you at that moment?
No, to be honest, I was not hurt. Only my feet. I don't know what happened to my feet that night. I was okay. I was asking my coach why he stopped the fight. But it's my coach who stopped the fight. But for me, that fight, I never lost that fight.
He's not going to stop this one, is he, if you're still ready to go?
No, I'm not.
I mean, it's the Battle of Africa, right? You can't do that to you.
Of course, yeah. I need to take my place. I need a big, Parker fight was something like I was never respected. I bought my life on the DAZN. I was waiting the fight. And the same day, they called me to replace Daniel Dubois. So I was not respecting that fight. This is the fight I was respecting. This is the fight I get the information 3 months before. So the Ajagba fight is the fight I was waiting for, not Parker one.
Can't wait to see it. Thanks for stopping by and good luck to you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Martin Bakole in the flesh. Back down to Thomas.
And now let's welcome from Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. He brings a professional record of 44 wins, 2 defeats, 35 of his 44 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the former WBO super welterweight champion of the world, Jaime Munguia.
Jaime Munguia. This man has never been in a boring fight, Sergio. That much we can guarantee is Saturday night's fight is going to be fireworks.
It's going to be fireworks, but how many more fireworks shows can this man be a part of? I mean, this is a man that's been fighting since his teenage years. He has over 45 fights. He's only been stopped 1 time. Iron chin, but like I've been telling Chris Mannix, he has been moved carefully, very strategically by Golden Boy Promotions since winning that title from Saddam Ali in 2018. He's been put in against gatekeepers, against former champions, against guys that are fringe contenders. So he hasn't really been tested on the championship level. Not to say Bruno Soros is a championship fighter, but he carries himself like a championship fighter. He's unbeaten, and he just had one of the knockouts of the year. So you can bet this man is coming with full confidence against that man who needs redemption.
Yeah, carefully curated, I would say, Jaime Munguia's career up at this point has been. At 160, he was next in line to fight Demetrius Andrade. That fight never materialized. Didn't fight a top guy at 168 until he got in the ring with Canelo Alvarez, who we'd argue it paid off. He got the fight against Canelo, but there still is a lot for Jaime Munguia to prove, and I think we're going to find out if he has more left in the tank. We were talking about him earlier like he's this grizzled veteran. Looking him up, he's 28 years old still. He's still a young man in this game, but he has been in so many tough fights against the likes of Sergey Derevchenko, Gabe Rosado, you name it, he's been in a tough fight with that guy, including the great Canelo Alvarez. He's got a new trainer now, and Eddie Renault, so we'll see if that makes an impact. But I think the jury is now out on how much Jaime Munguia has left.
Thank you very much to Jaime Munguia.
Look at this. How excited are you? Everybody's cheering for you. Todo el mundo te está aplaudiendo. ¿Qué se siente?
No, muy bien. La verdad que muy contento de que toda mi familia esté aquí. La verdad que muchas gracias por venir a todos los que están presentes. Muy contento y emocionado para la pelea de este sábado.
He's very happy. He has the support of his whole family and friends that came here to support him. So he's very happy to be able to have this opportunity. And of course, this is a moment that you've been waiting for a while. A moment of redemption. And when I say the word redemption, what do you think? Este es un momento que estás esperando hace rato. Es un momento para redención. Cuando digo esa palabra, ¿qué pasa por tu cabeza?
No, pues pasan muchas cosas. La verdad que tengo ganas de seguir adelante, de seguir triunfando. La verdad que creo que esto apenas empieza, entonces sin duda este sábado va a ser una gran noche.
Well, a lot of things go through my mind, and of course I've been waiting for this moment, I'm ready for it, and I'm pretty sure that on Saturday, things are just starting right now, and I'm going to make sure it happens on Saturday. And Saturday, everybody's going to be watching you because you've never given us a boring fight. How much pressure do you feel to make this even more exciting? O sea, el sábado todo el mundo está esperando una pelea emocionante porque nunca nos has dado una pelea sin lustro. Entonces, ¿cuánta presión tienes tú para poder hacer esto un show?
No, la verdad que obviamente pues siempre hay nervio, ¿no? Siempre presión, pero la verdad que es algo que te emociona, es algo que te da ganas de mostrarle al público, ¿no? Entonces, pues decirle a la gente que esta no va a ser una excepción y que sin duda pues va a ser una gran pelea.
Those are awesome words. He says, yes, there's always that little bit of nervousness, excitement, because I do feel the pressure, but that gives me even more incentive to make sure that people understand that this is definitely not going to be an exception. We will have a very exciting fight. Well, best of luck, and thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. See you tomorrow.
Yes! Back to you guys.
Our next two fighters competing Saturday in a scheduled 12-round contest. It will be for the WBC Cruiserweight Championship of the World. Let's first welcome a native of Yerevan, Armenia, now making his home in Miami, Florida. He has a professional record of 27 wins, 2 defeats, 12 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the current WBC Cruiserweight Champion of the World in recess. Here is Noel, the Dark Horse Mikhailian.
We'll talk more about Noel Mikhailian in just a minute. And I always hate to cut off AC/DC, my favorite band, but it's worth it because we have the face of French boxing right now, Bruno Saras. Ça va?
Ça va très très bien, toi.
How has your life changed since that magical knockout?
I can box in this kind of event. I can prepare well, so in boxing, everything has changed.
And what's the different feeling this time from going to Tijuana, being an unknown, an underdog, and then coming here where everybody knows who you are?
To me, it's the same feeling, because the first bout doesn't exist, and I have to write another page of my story. So it's the same feeling.
Bruno, you went to Tijuana undefeated.
Yeah.
You obviously believed you could win, but were you surprised at how you won? Were you surprised that you were able to knock Jaime Munguia out?
When I take the bout, I have the will to win, and I was confident. I never know how I win, but yes, I was surprising, yeah.
You think you could do it again? You think you could knock out Jaime Munguia, a man that's only been knocked out once by you? Can you do it again?
I have to win. Doesn't matter the way I win. I have to win again, and I prepare to win again, yeah.
Thank you very much to Noel.
Très magnifique. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, au revoir.
Hello.
Hello.
That was a great workout.
Quickie.
Okay, we're gonna leave it at that. So, not much to show today. Are you just conserving your energy, trying to adjust?
Exactly.
Ah, well, that was quick.
You caught me.
What did I do?
You caught me.
Of course, top secret. With that being said, final stretch. Any adjustments, especially with the time? Is that affecting you at all?
No, everything is good. I just want to say shukran Riyadh. Habibi, yalla. Let's go.
Wow. Can you say that in Spanish?
Vámonos, Riyadh.
Viste. What about German?
Riyadh, na los.
Let's get los. There you go. Very short, very concise. What can we expect from you on Saturday?
W. I'm here for the win. Retaining my belt, retaining my title. Cruiserweight champion of the world.
There you go. Can you say that in Armenian?
Gotis and Pashpanum, Ashkari champion, WBC.
Extraordinary. Thank you so much.
We heard 3 languages there, only about 3 words from each language. But you know a little German, don't you, Sergio? A little Wiener Schnitzel?
No, I know a little Armenian, though.
Do you really?
Yeah. Barev donse saper.
What'd that mean?
Hello, nice to meet you, bro.
There you go. Chris, any Armenian?
Nope, not a word.
Che.
Here's Thomas Triber.
And now let's welcome a native of Stockholm, Sweden, now fighting out of Dubai, United Arab Emirates. He has a professional record consisting of 28 wins, 3 defeats, 3 draws, 17 of his 28 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the reigning and defending WBC Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Badou Jack the Ripper.
Well, Chris, if you could, please, since you're the smartest of the 3 of us, he's carrying a WBC title. Is he the WBC Cruiserweight Champion?
According to the WBC, Badou Jack is the reigning and defending Cruiserweight Champion. Now, he won this title off of Junior Makabu a couple of years ago. He then moved up in weight, ideally to challenge for a Bridgerweight title, which is the new weight class that the WBC invented. So he became the champion in recess. Noel Miguelian won a vacant version of this WBC title against the same Junior Makabu. He did not defend that title and therefore had his title stripped and was named champion in recess. That title was restored to Badou Jack, who had a fight scheduled already for this week. His opponent fell out. In steps Noel Miguelian on short notice. So now we will have the champion in recess versus former champion in recess, all for the official WBC Cruiserweight title.
Well done. Sergio, you won a WBC title. Was it real?
Of course it's real. I mean, everyone dreams of that green belt.
You weren't a champion in recess or an interim champion? It was the real deal.
No. It was a real deal, and I won it from a real champion. Rest in peace to Vernon Forrest.
Well, Badou Jack has not fought in over 2 years. He's 41 years old. You know, how much ring rust do you expect him to have? Sergio, you're in your 40s. You told me you can't take body shots anymore. That's why you retired.
I cannot, but see this man right here, he hasn't really officially been knocked out. I mean, he got knocked out one time in the first round. That was cold. This man's made for the distance. He has 3 losses, 2 of them competitive, 3 draws. That means he gets everyone to run for the money. All his blemishes are by championship level type fighters. So this man that knows how to fight, he's been fighting for a long time, and even at 41, he knows what to do.
Thank you very much to Badou Jack the Ripper.
And the Ripper will make his way up here in a few moments, and we will speak to Badou Jack, who says boxing politics have kept him on the shelf for so long.
Yeah, he wanted to be in a Bridgerweight title fight, moving up, just to keep his career moving. That did not happen. Now here he is back in Cruiserweight. I will say this, when you compare the resumes of these 2 guys, Jack and Miguelian, there is no competition. Badou Jack at light heavyweight fought the very best of the best. He fought Adonis Stevenson, Nathan Cleverly, James DeGale, Lucien Boutte, George Groves. I mean, he was fighting everyone. Now he gets a chance to fight Noel Miguelian to defend that Cruiserweight title.
Ladies and gentlemen, our main event this Saturday, 12 rounds scheduled for the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world. Let's first welcome a native of Matanzas, Cuba. Now fighting out of Berlin, Germany, he brings an undefeated record with 23 wins, 9 wins, coming by way of knockout. He is the reigning and defending IBF super middleweight champion of the world, William El Indomable Scull.
So here comes the man who owns 1 title. He'll be defending it against Canelo Alvarez. Of course, if he beats Alvarez, he'll become undisputed in 1 fell swoop. More on William Scull in just a moment, but we've got another champ with us here right now, the WBC Cruiserweight champ, Badou Jack. You live in nearby Dubai. Does this feel like a home game for you?
Yeah, it's an hour flight away, so yeah, this is home.
So you're 41 now. You haven't fought in over 2 years. How's your body reacting to being back in a full camp and getting ready to get on the big stage again?
I haven't stopped training at all. I've been training. I've been waiting for the next fight since the last fight, basically. So boxing politics kept me out of the ring. It's not my fault, but now we're back.
So, Badu, it took me about a minute to explain the champions and recess part to all this audience. You won that title off Junior Makabu. You wanted to move up and fight for another title in a different weight class. You mentioned boxing politics. Explain, if you can, kind of what happened over the last couple of years to keep you out of the ring, because you were starting to peak a little bit. I thought that was one of the better wins of your career against Junior Makabu.
Yeah, so basically we was going to move up to bridgerweight. At that time, there was no big cruiserweight, no big names. So we was going to move up to bridgerweight, win the title, and then go back to cruiserweight. And then obviously the other guys, Opataya and them, came up like a year and a half later, so we got a little bit of a name for themselves. So the WBC, they didn't strip me, they put me a champion in recess because it was mandatory and stuff that I had to face. And then this fight didn't ever happen, so in May last year I told Mauricio I'm going to get my belt back and fight for the belt, and yeah, so now we're back.
So do you feel like you're a cruiserweight now for the foreseeable future? As you mentioned, it's gotten hot all of a sudden. Jai Opataya is the biggest name. Sergio Ramirez got a couple of belts in the U.S. where you fought many times. Is that kind of now the goal for you, to try to unify these titles?
Yeah, the goal is to be undisputed at cruiserweight.
Badu, what's the secret? It seems like 10 years ago when you fought Durrell for the championship, you became champion. Here you are 10 years later, you win another championship. What's the secret, man? What's keeping you in the game? Where's the hunger, and how do you stay sharp?
You have to have good genetics, number one, good skills, and good defense. And you got to live boxing. It's just a lifestyle. You gotta take care of your body and live clean. Anything's possible.
You hear that, Sergio? Take care of your body, live clean. You hear that? You hear that?
I knew there was a joke there. Set myself up.
Hey, by the way, one of the great, nice guys in boxing. Congratulations on all you've done with your charity work, and we wish you the best on Saturday night.
Thank you, brother.
All right, Badu Jack joining us here live in Riyadh.
All right, thank you, guys. Thank you.
And now William Scull in the ring.
Thank you very much
He'll be
to the reigning and defending IBF Super Middleweight World Champion, William El Indomable Scull.
El Indomable, the untamable. How do you feel?
Me siento muy bien, la verdad que muy contento, ¿no? Muy feliz de ser parte de este gran evento.
I'm very happy to be part of this event. I'm just excited. With that being said, obviously the media is talking that Canelo has more knockouts than you do fights in general. How do you think about that criticism in general? Los medios de comunicación desde que llegaste dicen que Canelo tiene más knockouts que tú peleas en general. ¿Qué crees tú de ese comentario?
No, son comentarios que tienen las personas, ¿no? Y los locutores y las personas que no tienen conocimiento de lo que es el boxeo. El knockout sale, el knockout pasa, pero bueno, eso no significa una cosa una cosa no tiene nada que ver con la otra. Tiene muchos knockouts, bueno, está bien, pero bueno, vamos a ver si me puede knockear a mí tan fácil, así como dicen la gente.
They can say whatever they want. Even commentators can say whatever they want. Their criticism, it's because they really don't know. A knockout just comes when it needs to come. The fight is a fight, and we'll see if really that difference is going to make a different fight on Saturday. If he has more knockouts or not, they just come in handy. But in my book, I've done my work, and I'm able to do a great fight on Saturday. And with that being said, you're in the spotlight. All these lights are right now. You have been waiting for this opportunity since you were, 7 years old, since you walked in a ring for the first time. Do you feel like you finally made it? 9 años haciendo esto a nivel profesional, pero entraste por primera vez a un ring cuando tenías 7 años. Estás aquí bajo todas estas luces. ¿Ya sientes que llegaste?
No, siento que es mi momento, ¿no? Estoy feliz porque esto es mi fiesta, esto es lo que siempre he hecho en mi vida, ¿no? Fui el último invitado y yo voy a ser el último que me lleva el show, porque así como son las cosas que pasan en la vida.
He says, no, I've been ready for this moment, and I'm just excited because this is the party. I was the last one to be invited, and I assure you I will be the last one, and I will be taking that belt. Well, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow in the press conference. Gracias por todo, y esperamos verte mañana en la conferencia de prensa.
Muchas gracias a todos ustedes y muchas gracias a Riyadh por el gran recibimiento y por todo lo que está pasando aquí.
Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you for the welcome, the warm welcome, for everything that you've done.
What'd you make of those comments from William Scull there, Sergio?
He's a lot more calm and cool and confident than he was at the press conference in New York City. Now, there's a little bit of swag to him. And look, Cubans got swag. That's something that they're just born with. They got boxing ability, power, and swag. Now he looks like he belongs a little bit more, like he's getting accustomed to the environment and the atmosphere. And you're gonna need that against Canelo Alvarez, because once you're in front of that man, a superstar like that, you gotta bring something to the table more than confidence. I think I just seen it with Scull.
Yeah, I agree. When we were in New York, he just looked uncomfortable in that type of moment. There was a few thousand Mexican fans at Radio City Music Hall. Canelo, I think Canelo at some point, didn't he call him out, say, speak into the microphone? Like, he was going after him a little bit. William Scull just didn't look like he was truly comfortable. Yesterday at the arrivals, today at the open workout, he has looked like he's comfortable being here. The question I have, though, is he here to win, or is he here just to survive? Because we've seen Canelo Alvarez opponents come in and just try to get through 12 rounds. Is William Scull here to get through 12 rounds, or is he here to become the undisputed super middleweight champion?
By the way, I've just been told we're expecting Canelo Alvarez to make his way to the ring here momentarily, get his little workout in front of the media. Due to a training conflict, he is not here tonight and will not be making his way to the ring. But he will be tomorrow. We'll be here tomorrow for the press conference hosted by Chris Mannix, who's going to be working on those questions all night long. That press conference starts at 2 p.m. Eastern time, followed by the weigh-in. That will also be 2 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock here local time in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Well, this weekend, join us for two incredible nights of fights. May 2nd, Ryan Garcia facing Rolly Romero in Times Square, presented by The Ring Magazine and Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves. And then it's Destination Riyadh Saturday night. Saul Canelo Alvarez headlines a stacked card as he faces William Scull for the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world. We've always got big fights here on DAZN. Over 185 fight nights a year on Saturday. Keep up to date for all the events on offer by heading to the DAZN platform and going to the schedule section, where you'll find all the live action, including some domestic dust-ups from the UK.
I'm ready and I'm coming to take the title in Nottingham.
I want to achieve my maximum. I want to do everything I can do, and being a two-weight world champion is my next step.
This is the Hurt Game.
Unbelievable, CQ. This has got the recipe for fight of the year.
Work there from Kakachi.
Shot from Lee Woods.
Watch this fight. This is going to be a standout fight this year.
So that's Saturday, May 10th. Anthony Kakachi defending his IBO super featherweight title against Lee Wood. May 24th, Josh Taylor moving to welterweight to face Iko Usman in Glasgow. Then we're on a trip to Australia as IBF cruiserweight champion Jayo Pataya defends his title from the Gold Coast on June 8th. Part of over 185 fight nights each year live on DAZN. So our final thoughts, obviously Canelo not here. Maybe he's taking Scull more seriously than we think he is. He's training right now, in matter of fact, Chris.
Look, it's one of those fights where if Canelo Alvarez were to lose, it's because he overlooked his opponents. We know that Canelo has eyes on bigger prizes for later this year, into next year. William Scull is an opportunity for him to come undisputed for a second time. I'm curious to see what kind of game plan William Scull comes out with. Sergio and I vigorously disagree on what game plan he should come out with, but I'm anxious to see what he brings to the table against an all-time great like Canelo.
Look, Canelo not being here, Canelo's a boss of him. He's his own boss. So look, I'm not really worried about that. I've been a part of this as well. When I fought Daniel Jacobs, he didn't show up to the press conference. He didn't show up to the workers because he was trying to lose weight. I don't know if that's the case with Canelo, but he's not here. But William Scull, you know, I like the confidence that I'm seeing.
Daniel Jacobs didn't show up because he didn't want to be around you anymore. He called you the most annoying fighter he's ever faced.
And that might be the case, and you're the most annoying writer I ever read. So
wow, well played.
All right, now we're going to go to Carbone, Chris Mannix's go-to spot.
Yes.
Every night for dinner here.
Every night.
In Saudi Arabia.
My cheers.
And we're going to watch that press conference live from New York City. What's going to happen when Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero, Teofimo Lopez, Barboza, Ramirez, all those guys are on the stage at the same time? You can watch that. And then tomorrow night, hosted by Chris Mannix, it'll be Canelo Alvarez and William Scull, the press conference, 9 p.m. local time, 2 p.m. Eastern. For the entire DAZN crew, I'm Todd Grisham. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night.
On DAZN Worldwide, Saturday, May 3rd, 7 p.m. Eastern, Canelo versus Scull. The King stakes his legacy once more for the undisputed crown. Standing in his way is Warrior Scull, undefeated and poised to decimate the division. On a knockout weekend of boxing. Get Canelo versus Scull, Saturday, May 3rd. Live exclusively on DAZN. Buy now at DAZN.com.
Drinks all around. Something's got a hold on. Charlie, get up here. I said, oh, 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 yeah.
Final Destination, Bloodlines, rated R.